Good morning, everyone. This is Darius Dale here to welcome you to our macro minute for Monday, April 11th, 2022. Hope you had a great weekend out there. So let's just hop right into it. Starting with markets, stocks down this morning, commodities down, crypto down big, dollar up, global bond yields are up. Market moving headlines. Okay, you had a bunch this morning. Euro rose after the first round of France's presidential election. It gave the incumbent Emmanuel Macron a narrow lead over nationalist challenger Marine Le Pen. That was positive at the margin for the euro, as you recall, going all the way back to, I want to say, 2011, 13, or 14. She's very anti-euro, and so anything that keeps her numbers down is positive at the margin for the common currency. Oil's down again big on China's COVID lockdowns. The curbs in Shanghai appear to be getting more draconian. You have military out there enforcing those curves. In terms of also weighing on the oil price this morning, you had Iran said the 2015 nuclear deal is alive, but lingering in the emergency room in the sense that the U.S. could potentially lift sanctions on the Iran economy and its exports. Earnings season kicks off this week. You got Citigroup, J.P. Morgan Chase, all the banks, Taiwan Semiconductor as well. Chicago Fed's President Charles Evans, he was due to speak out today. Recall that his commentary was a little bit more dovish relative to what we heard last week, so we expect a little bit more dovish the dovish commentary today. But that's probably going to end because we're going to get March CPI tomorrow. That'll be the latest shot across the bow as it relates to the accelerating inflation pressure that we continue to see in the U.S. economy. Fed Governor Lyle Brainerd, Fed President Thomas Barkin, they'll be out tomorrow talking on the other side of that report. So expect incrementally hawkish commentary, particularly out of Brainerd. You get ECB's policy rate decision on Thursday. Expect incrementally hawkish commentary there. And then big week data, retail sales, University of Michigan consumer sentiment on Thursday out of the U.S. economy. And then that's followed by Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mester and Philly Fed President Patrick Harker speaking on Thursday as well. So a huge week from both a top down and bottom up perspective. And guess what? Most of this stuff is not going to be bullish. Just be aware of that. Big movers this morning of the Shanghai Composite off 2.6%. WTI crude oil down 4%. Bitcoin down 5%. Ethereum down 8%. So crypto getting body bagged this week. Some nice sales by us on Friday in that particular arena. US dollar, taking it to the charts here. US dollar, that is bullish VAMs in the middle of its probable range with minus 1.3% of downside versus 0.6% of upside. Gold, neutral VAMs in the middle of its probable range as well with minus 4% of downside, 2% of upside. 10-year nominal Treasury yield bullish VAMs still minus 40 basis points of downside, 6 basis points of upside there. High yield credit spreads, looking at the CDX, bullish VAM still with minus 37 basis points of downside versus 13 basis points of upside. S&P 500 that is still narrowly bullish VAMs. If this thing, we talked about this on Friday, but if it gets back to neutral or even bearish VAMs, you're going to see the probable range to have an adverse skew set up. Similar thing with the VIX here. But for now, the S&P is nearing oversold territory. But again, I don't have a lot of confidence in that particular signal, just given that I don't have a lot of confidence that it can remain bullish VAMs there. So expect some changes in the next week or so. And from that perspective, same thing with the VIX. Obviously, it's kind of the reverse is true there. VIX is currently bearish VAMs with minus 36% of downside and 4% of upside in its probable range. But again, I don't believe it's going to maintain that bearish VAM state. So expect a different probable range setup here in the coming days. Just preparing you for that. Slide 7 here, neutral VAMs, NASDAQ 100 minus 0.8% of downside versus 8% of upside. Russell 2000, that's also neutral VAMs minus 0.7% downside versus 7% of upside. Bitcoin, neutral VAMs minus 1% of downside versus 18% of upside. Neutral VAMs, if the thing goes back to bearish, you know it's going to happen with the probable range. So don't want to beat a dead horse there. Same deal with Ethereum, neutral VAMs, minus 0.8% of downside versus 20% of upside. Shanghai Composite, bearish VAMs, bounced right off the upper boundary of its probable range. Now it's in the middle with 2% of downside versus 4% of upside. Crude oil there, neutral VAMs there, minus 3% of downside versus 23% of upside. And then lastly, ag, bullish VAMs here in the middle of its probable range with 4% of downside, 4% of upside. And then lastly, industrial metals, bullish VAMs minus 1% of downside versus 10% of upside. So with that, Darius Dale presenting our macro minute for Monday, April 11, 2022. Best of luck out there this week.